Today we are going to add shading to our Van Gogh drawing. So you can go to Procreate in the gallery area and find your project. It should have your initials and the name Van Gogh. If it's not here, you need to import it from your Google Drive. So let's go ahead and get started. So each single color is a different layer. And what we're going to do is we're going to start with, and you can start with the top layer if you want, or the bottom layer, but I like to do it in order so that it's easier for me to keep track of what's going on. So for right now, I am going to use layer 2. Now, before we even get started, let's turn on Alpha Lock. And the way you turn on Alpha Lock, there's two ways. You can touch the layer and go to Alpha Lock and click it that way, or you can take two fingers and you can scroll it across each one of the colors. Now we're not doing it to the reference. We're only doing it to the color layers. And you know that it's turned on because you see a checkerboard in the background. Okay, so I'm going to turn my Alpha Lock on each one of these layers. And what that does is it keeps you from being able to color into different sections when you're adding your shading. Okay, so I'm going to come back to my very first color layer, and it's the light color ones. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick the color of the layer and then come up to the color disc, and I'm going to choose a darker color by slightly going down, and I can see the color difference right there. I can see the two different colors and that it's darker on that side. Okay, and I'm going to use that, and then I'm going to choose one side to do the shading on. So I'm going to come here and color right down. And I don't know if you guys can see the shading. And even though I'm scrubbing on this side, it doesn't show up on that side. It's only showing up on the light green because that's the side I have chosen. And maybe if I do it a little darker, you might be able to see it on the screen. And so what I'm doing is basically just scrubbing back and forth, doing like a little shadow. And I'm going to do this on all of the light green. And then I'll be back. Okay, so I forgot a step. If we go to the brush and we go to the touch-ups and we choose the noise brush, okay, we also want to make sure that I had it down to a fine point. We need to make sure that it's probably to about 50%. So make sure it's at 50%, and then you're going to go in and add your shading. Oop, I'm on the wrong layer. Here we go. Okay. And just add a little bit of shading, and it looks like that 50% is too high. Okay, let's go back, and we're going to do 25%. Why does it keep going there? Go back to make sure you're on the right layer. There we go. That's good. Okay, so we are at 25% shading, and I'm going down one side. And it's just putting a very light shadow. And I'm going to do that on each one of my light green colors here. And you continue working on that as well. Okay, so now I'm going to go to my next layer, which is the darker green. And I'm going to tap my color up here. Tap the color right there to choose the color. And then tap the color up here and move it down until you see a darker side on the right side. Brush is still the same. And now I'm going to come down and just draw down this side here. And then just draw down, follow along the line, kind of pressing a little bit with your, you want to press with your stylus. And now you can see the shading going on. And I'm going to continue the shading on the same side over here on the right. Awesome. That looks really good. Okay, so now we're going to go to the next layer, which is going to be the path. So make sure we're on there. Color pick the path color. Make sure we're on the path. Yep. Choose a darker color. And then we're going to go down just the right side of the path. And I am pressing down with my stylus to make that darker color there. All right, what's next? Now is the purple, or pink, I should say, layer. So I'm going to tap there, come over here, choose the pink. Oops. Choose the pink, tap. Get a slightly darker color. And then here, I have to be careful because, oh wait, no, I did separate them, didn't I? Good, now I don't have to worry. So now I'm going to come here and I'm going to press down. And look, I can go straight over. Okay, maybe I need a darker color, but I'm going to make it a little bit darker. There we go. Okay, so I can go straight down the right side here and not worry about it covering over that red brick because the red brick is on a different layer. And I can come here and add my dark color here as well. And then add a little bit up here. Not too much. Okay. Next layer. Now we have the brick layers. Okay, so now I'm going to choose my brick color. And I'm going to make it darker. And I'm going to go on the right side of each brick. So make it darker on the right side of each brick. Okay. I don't know if that's dark enough. Let's try it again. There we go, that's better. So I'm pushing down. So applying pressure with my stylus pen. And I don't have to worry because it's on a different layer that it's getting the color on the other layers. It's not. Okay. Now I'm going to do the sky. And unfortunately, I put both colors of my sky on here. And now I need to be very careful now when I'm adding shading. Okay, this is what I hope to avoid, but even I made the mistake. So, okay, now I'm going to come to, and I'm going to start with the blue first. And I'm going to make it a darker blue. Okay, still have the same brush. I'm using the same brush. So I'm going to come here. And you can see it getting on, the purple there. So, hope this doesn't happen to you. But I'm going to lower the size of my brush and just be very careful, trying to stay, don't have to worry about it coming over here, trying to stay inside of the blue. Okay, oops, maybe. Okay, that looks pretty good. All right, now I'm going to go do the purple. And make the purple darker. And do the same thing. And if you notice, I'm going right through that star. And that's because those stars, the colors of those stars are on a different layer. And this is the cool thing about working with layers. You can go right through that star. Okay. Go through here. And here. There we go. Awesome. Now that looks really cool. So the last thing, shadow, that I'm going to add is going to be the stars. And once again, didn't make a separate layer for this one either, except for the yellow part. So it takes some getting used to, but you know, you get better with time. So I'm going to go ahead and choose a darker orange and try to keep it outside of this orange here. So I'm just going to come down and just do one side, just the right side. And then go back and choose the lighter color, make it a little darker, add a shadow here. And then now I go to the new layer here where it's yellow and make it darker also. Just when you think you have it all figured out. Okay. That is it. All right, this looks awesome, guys. This looks awesome. And so you're going to do what we normally do, and that is you're going to go to the wrench. And this time, though, if you finish the project, instead of saving it as Procreate, you're going to save it as a JPEG because we want to turn it in. So you're going to save it as a JPEG into your Google Drive. There's the name, and see it says JPEG on the end. Okay. Select the folder, My Drive, your art folder, save here, upload. And now, let me show you the very end part here. If you are logged into your Google Classroom, you can go straight into your Google Classroom and you can go to the assignment and turn it in this way, or you can use your Chromebook and turn it in.